What's up, my fellow danglers? So, recently I've really gotten into swim bait fishing. I guess you could say I started about a year ago, 2 years ago, give or take, and I'm still quite the newbie at it. I think I've mentioned before in some of my previous videos, my long-term goal is to break the New Jersey state record for largemouth bass. Even smallmouth or any would be great, but specifically largemouth. And of course, swim bait fishing is one of the top ways to go about that. And again, bigger the bait, bigger the fish. So I recently did a little bit of a tackle haul, went a little crazy. And I think what I want to stick with as far as swim baits go is things that are going to be not super huge. Again, in New Jersey, bass are not quite as big as they are the further southwest you go. State record for New Jersey is 10 pounds, 14 ounces. So that's just shy of 11 pounds. That's not super big. I mean, it's big, but the further west and south you go, you're talking at least 16, 17 is state records. I think world records like 23-ish. So as far as swim baits go, I'm going to be sticking with probably like the 6 to 8 inch range, probably mostly 6 inch. And again, I'm also taking into consideration that I am primarily a bank fisherman. So I don't want to go too crazy, with dealing with a lot of weeds, a lot of structures that I'm going to be dealing with fishing off the bank. So a lot of the swim baits I did get are also weedless, and then some are not. But a lot of them are going to be also slow sinking to floating as well because of that reason. So enough gum flap. Let's get into it. So I got a little bit of everything from a little bit of everywhere. So let's start with Dick's Sporting Goods. So they were still having that buy 3, get 3 free for 6 cents fishing. So of course I had to take advantage of that once again. And let's see here. Let's start with So we're actually going to start with a couple of crankbaits. That deal was for their hard baits and frogs, which I took advantage of the first time I did that. So I believe I mentioned in one of my videos, maybe not, can't remember, that I gotten 3 frogs and 2 of their splashback 70 poppers and their Dogma walking bait. So this time around, I got me a few different crankbaits along with some hybrid, and of course we're going to save the best for last, a big swim bait by them. So first one, we got the Swank 77X. So this is, again, going to be a shallow runner. This is in the Gorge Gill color. 3/4 ounce weight. Let's see, it's going to go from 2 to 5 feet. So I am going to be throwing in a little bit of crankbait stuff here, and I guess you'll kind of understand why as I go along here. So this is in the Gorge Gill color. So you'll notice that's got that bent lip on it. Honestly, can't tell you too much. Let's see. Crank 77X crankbait takes power cranking to the next level by allowing you to cover water with unique new sound and action. The L-style bill with loud rattles is uniquely designed, causing this crankbait to swim erratically in a natural horizontal swimming action through depths of 2 to 5 feet deep. So yeah, again, being in New Jersey, bluegill is going to be one of the main forage for largemouth bass, so I definitely wanted to go with that color. And that is Purdy, again, sticking with a little more of a shallow running depth. And I will be sharing on my Instagram, either before this or after, not sure, my first deep crank fish that I caught this year, finally. And of course that was me being out on a boat, which does not happen very often. I literally have one spot where I can do that. So next up is the Movement 80 WK. This is 5/8 ounce, and this goes from 0 to 1 foot, so it's kind of like a weight bait in a sense. So it's going to create a lot of action on the surface. And this is not bluegill color. This is the bluegill spawn, which I believe we're kind of at the end of right now. So again, that bill is short, and it's almost almost on a 90-degree angle. What's this guy say? The 6th Sense Movement 80 WK crankbait takes topwater fishing to the next level. Unlike other crankbait designs, the MT 80 WK, that was a lot, uniquely pivots on its axis to create a balanced swimming action that fish cannot resist. So again, being more on the surface and definitely running a lot more shallower. Again, I swear this is going to make sense, or at least it makes sense to me once I'm done with this. Then we got the Axis Metal 2.0. This is 1/2 ounce dies, 2 to 5 feet. Now this one's super unique. This one I've been kind of having my eye on for a while. So this has got like your typical square bill, but it's metal and it's on a little joint there. So it pivots back and forth. So again, going to give some pretty unique action. This is in the wild shad color. You know, most bass in the lakes that I fish are going to be feeding on those schools of bait fish. So I definitely want to kind of give myself a little bit of variety. Let's see. No bait fish swims in a straight line. Neither should your crankbait. 3 years in the making, the 6th Sense Axis was engineered to have an action like no other lure. An erratic hunting action, diving 2 to 5 feet. So yeah, super unique. I'm actually pretty stoked to test this guy out to see what the action is like. Super cool. Get in there. Okay, so this one I'm just going to leave right in. This is the Crush 50S Silent. This is a square bill, 3/8 ounce, dives 2 to 5 feet. So yeah, really nice paint job on this square bill. I went with that red because to me it's like a really good midpoint between a bright red to a darker red. So it almost kind of tapers from a darker red to a little bit of a lighter red. Hopefully you can kind of see that well. Just want to move along here. So this is the Hybrid Swim Crank. D3 model, 2 to 3 feet, 5/8 ounce. So this one's pretty cool. So this, I do actually have one of their smaller glide baits, and this basically, and that's their Speed Glide. So this has the body of a Speed Glide, but it's got this lip on it, so it's kind of like a hybrid. So you're gonna get best of both worlds, basically. What's this say? 6th Sense Hybrid Swim Crank is a shallow diving crankbait, hybridized. I didn't even know that was a word. With a jointed swim bait. Engineered with a circuit board lip and flat sides, the hybrid swim crank will represent just about any type of forage. Yes, so I'm super stoked to try this one out as well. Got that nice little feathered treble. Give it a little extra oomph, as I like to call it. And this is in the 4K shad color. Okay. Of course, like I said, I took advantage of that buy 3, get 3 free. So that is 5. So here is the big guy. The reason I did that in the first place, this is the 6th Sense Trace 6-inch swim bait. This is in the floating model. This is 1.5 ounces and in the bone pearl color. So it's going to represent a big old bait fish, whether that be a shiner, shad. Let's see here. Ooh-wee. Piece of candy. Okay. That is purty. So again, I went with that floating model, just mostly based off the fact that I am primarily a bank fisherman. So that is purty. Super good paint job. We got 2 joints, and it's got that soft plastic tail on the back, and they actually give you a spare one, which is super cool. So that is the first big old swim bait that I've added to the arsenal. Put that back in there. Boom. And then, so I know a guy, you know. I know about a secret stash in Dick's Sporting Goods secret stash out in Rockaway, New Jersey. I would say when they first put out the 6th Sense swim baits on the shelf, they also had the Jackal Ganarelle Juniors, and then I think I went back maybe 2 or 3 days later, and they were all gone. And I was like, there's no way that somebody went in here and bought all those Ganarelles. And I asked the guy, and he brought me to the back, and they still had a bunch. They just moved them off the shelves to make room for the 6th Sense. So when I went back to get that bad boy, I asked, and they still had them. And I've been on the shelf with these guys for a long time, and I'm super stoked to try them out. So this is the Jackal Ganarelle Jr. So this is 5 inches, ounce and a half, so an inch shorter than the Trace, same weight. Also 2 joints. And this is, I believe, slow sinking. So it is not floating. And this, I believe, is in the, I want to say spawn gill? Yes, RT spawn gill. Not sure what RT stands for. But that is pretty. That is gorgeous. The paint jobs on these are unbelievably real. So you got those 2 trebles that also have feathers, which is one of my favorite things about this bait. Got those 2 little side fins, and this thing is gorgeous. Cannot wait to try this one out. All of them, but the Ganarelle in particular, I've really been on the fence with, along with the Megabass Vataline. That one may happen in the future. Not sure yet. I gotta calm down here. A little cray-cray. All right, next up. I had actually bought one of these a while ago, and this is the 13 Fishing Coalition Baits soft body swim baits. I think this was in, I talked about it briefly, I think, in one of my tackle haul videos, one of my recent ones. Soft body swim bait, you're supposed to rig it with a Owner 6/0 beast hook, and it's got this beautiful paddle tail on it. But unfortunately, I think it was the first mistake I made was buying the VMC swim bait hooks unweighted. See, they conveniently have them next to these guys, so I figured, okay, boom, 6/0, we're good to go. You need a weighted one. With the unweighted hook, it kind of just floats on its side. But when you use a weighted hook, it is awesome. But unfortunately, where I was shopping at the time, I think I was going to like Tackle Warehouse, and I forget where else, they were out of stock of the weighted Owner beast hooks. So I ended up going with Gamakatsu. It didn't quite work out, and it's nothing against Gamakatsu. I love Gamakatsu. And I realized today what the issue was I was having with the Gamakatsus. I went to Ramsey's Outdoors, which I don't go to very often, and they happen to have the Owner beast hooks. And one thing I noticed about these bad boys is that they have a much bigger screw lock on them, and that was one of the big issues I was having with the Gamakatsus. It was the screw lock was coming out, and I think these are almost like twice the size, I don't know if you can see that, of the ones that are in the Gamakatsus. So let's see. And this also has the centerpiece. I don't think the Gamakatsus had those. So we're going to stick that right in there. I'm going to screw that bad boy in. Kind of off kilter there. Screw it in, screw it in. You can do it. Ah, there we go. Get in there. Ah, yes. So that's much nicer. That sits perfectly in there. Wonderful. Okay. So, should I leave that in there? Pull that out for now. I got to adjust. There's little nose pegs. I got one of them in here. I got to mess around with it. If I got to tear this thing up too much. Maybe even glue one in there. Who knows? But yeah, I finally have the right hooks for that guy. And of course, now that I found the right hooks, I had to get another one. And this one's actually, which I also picked up. So those guys were from Ramsey's. Now this next one, this is back to Dick's Sporting Goods. And this is very similar, but a little bit bigger. Yes, a tad bigger than that. I want to say that's 5 inch. This is 5 1/4 inch. But this one takes the 8/0. I'm going to leave this guy in here for now. So I'm going to be pairing this guy up with the 8/0 Owner beast hook. So again, that's another weedless, or I should say that's my first weedless option that I will be using. And I got to do a little shout out to the Megabass Mag Draft, along with the Optimum Baits Boom Boom Swim Bait. Those have been my 2 swim baits I have been using recently. Now I'm just kind of upping my size and styles of them, I guess you can say. All right, we'll throw this one in real quick. So this one was actually a Whatnot find. This is by a company called Lucky Bug, and this is the Zombie Max. So this is in the Sexy Shad color, and this is in the 5-inch. I have never heard of this brand. I don't want to give out the wrong name. Maybe I'll tag them in the description. But it was one of the sellers on Whatnot threw this up. I was the only one that bid on it, so I couldn't complain. So this guy here has some pretty crazy action. It looks a little wonky. It's got this little bulging out bottom lip, which I think is part of what gives it such unique action. It's got what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 joints. So it's gonna have really lifelike action. And again, especially with like the trace or even the Ganarelle, you give that little twitch of the tip of your rod, you're gonna really give that bait some pretty erratic action, almost like a dying fish. So I'm super stoked to try this one out. Again, probably not a very what's the word I'm looking for, famous company. I don't want to say popular, but not one you don't hear much about. And I did my research, and they got some pretty cool stuff. So there's that guy as well. And that is that for that bunch. Now, getting into swim bait fishing, when I first really started doing my research, there was one name that kept coming up in the very beginning, and that was Huddleston. So this next little bunch of stuff came from Tackle Warehouse, so I figured if I'm really going to get into swim bait fishing, I got to have at least one Huddleston in my arsenal, and that's this bad boy. This is the Huddleston Deluxe 68W Yellow Perch. So this is 6-inch. I think this is 2 ounce. And this has a little bit of a slower fall rate. And this is in a perch color. And of course it is weedless. Come on! Hello? Are you going to come out? Or am I going to have to wrestle you out? What's going on here? Why are we so sticky? Come on, come on, come on. There we go. Okay. Oh, that is beautiful. That is gorgeous. So it's got that very aggressive boot tail on the back. A lot of thumping and lifelike action. And then that hook is buried right up top there. That is a gorgeous bait. And then eyelets just sticking out right there. So again, going to be an excellent weedless option. So this and the 13 coalition baits, swim baits, are going to be excellent for that. For those scenarios, I'm really going to need something that's weedless. Now, I need a swim bait setup. So what I was using, and it's going to bring us into why I talked about the crankbaits. What I was using, I had this guy right here actually, 6.3 SLX by Shimano. And I was basically using this reel back and forth between my cranking rod and my swim bait rod. Now with my swim bait rod, I was using a 7.6 heavy Jacob Wheeler Series Ducket fishing rod. So yeah, heavy. And one thing I like about this rod is I think as Jacob put it, it's not a true heavy. It definitely got a little bit of a softer tip to it, which I like. I like that little bit of extra sensitivity. So this was like my primary rod I was using for like my mag drafts. And I think that's what I might be pairing up my new reel I'm about to pull out with, but I'm not sure yet. But I was using this bad boy right here. And like I said, I was switching that 6.2, right? 6.3 SLX between that and this Ducket Micro Magic Pro cranking rod. Now this is 7.6 as well, and this is medium heavy. Perfect cranking rod. I mean, I don't think, maybe I'm being biased, but I can't think of any other rod that feels as good as this does in my hands. If you follow my channel, my two, I would say, main brands of fishing rods I use is Ducket and St. Croix. And this one right here, is probably one of my favorite ducket rods next to the Jacob Wheeler series. I mean, all right, that's the only two that I have, but that's beside the point. So now that I have this new reel I'm about to pull out, I'm actually going to slap this 6.3 SLX, at least once a video, onto this bad boy, and I will have a permanent cranking setup, and that's going to work for my deep cranks, square bills, the hybrids, even smaller swim baits like the I would say the swim crank. That's going to work good on there. Even this guy, I'll probably throw this guy on that as well. So with that being said, it's time to bust out the crank and reel, and that is the Okuma Citrix. Yeah, what I just said, I'm not going to try it again. CI 364XA. 364LXA, right, is actually a 350 size. So it's going to be a little bit bigger than my normal 150s, which is what the SLX is. Jeez. I'm glad I don't really have that problem when I'm working. So this is probably your normal size bass fishing bait caster, and then you got the 350 size. So it's definitely a little beefier. It's going to hold more line, and it's definitely going to be able to handle those bigger swim baits much better, especially long-term use. Cranking those bigger swim baits. This is the 6-4-1, and that is beautiful. Smooth. I might throw some oil in there just for my own mental sake, but that is nice. And I will be spooling that up with some 17-pound Invis-X by Seeger. So this is my go-to line with everything. Not Invis-X, but Seeger in general. Wow! Okay. And then I'm actually going to strip off the line that's on this SLX and throw on some of their basics 12-pound for the cranks. I think I actually have 15-pound on that now. So I'm going to switch that out. And I'm actually going to do that real quick, and we're going to hop back on. So now I got to decide. So I have that 7.6 heavy Jacob Wheeler, but I also have a 7.4 heavy Legend Extreme by St. Croix. Now this definitely has that true feel of a heavy rod to it, more of like a, I guess, broomstick would be the description I'm looking for here. So I haven't really decided. I'm trying to really work with what I got. I mean, I know swim bait rods, you're really looking for anything from probably 7.4 to like 8 foot. I'm not throwing anything huge, so I think I can kind of get away with, with what I have. This is just a bigger reel, so I'm going to want to probably choose the option where this reel just feels the best with the rod. And if not, then I'm just going to have to go out and get a new rod, I guess. But I'm really trying not to. So I'm going to get this spooled up, and then I will shoot back, give you my thoughts on what I think, what my best option is, and yeah, we'll wrap it up from there. Okay, so we are all set up here. I got this bad boy all spooled up, and I currently have it on the Legend Extreme. I think it's tough. I think right now I'm going to actually be leaning towards the Legend Extreme for this reel. But I don't think I'll make my final decision until I actually get out on the water with it. I'm also looking at it as the most expensive baits are going on the most expensive setup. So that kind of works that way too. But again, I'm not going to make my final decision just yet. And unfortunately, the weather here in New Jersey, well, I shouldn't say unfortunately. It's going to be raining, thunderstorming for the next week, basically. We do need the rain very bad, so I can't be too upset. We do need it, but unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to get out anytime soon. So with that being said, there are going to be some other videos coming out, most likely product reviews. One being some more Lawless lures coming in for me. I actually got some of their bigger models, some of their smaller models, and some apparel, so definitely stay tuned for that. And then yeah, that's all I can think of at off the top of my head. And hopefully by that time I'll be able to form a sentence. That would be great. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, drop some comments, hit that like button, and I will catch you later.